people don't only get kidnapped by mermaid spirits, that there are other types of spirits in the water that kidnap people, i.e. snake spirits. I am back with another spooky story. Now this story is called The Snake Husband. So in parts of Africa, people whisper about the Mami Wata spirits, water beings who can appear human but often take form of a snake. And they say if one of them falls in love with you, there is no escape. So a young woman, we're gonna call her Amara. Amara lived near a forest river. Every evening she fetched water alone. Although the elders warned her never answer if you hear your name called by the river. So one night, Amara was just fetching her water, minding her business. Suddenly she heard it, and it was like a soft, deep, and a very sweet voice called her Amara. She turned, but no one was there. She turned back and she notices that the waves in the water was just a bit strange. So that night, she doesn't think anything of it. She goes about her business, gets her water, goes home, and returns the following day. Now, the next day, when she returned to the same spot, mind you, this time, a tall, handsome man stood at the riverbank, dressed in white. The man was described to have really long eyelashes, and his eyes seemed like they had a glimmer in them. And he also had an interesting smile. However, the man was alluring and handsome. He was beautiful. And it seemed like he had his eyes set on Amara. The second Amara saw this dude, she was enamored. He approached her to talk to her, and surprise, surprise, within them getting to know each other, it seems like this man is Amara's dream man, the husband that she had been so patiently waiting for this whole time. Like, even his voice was soft. And while they were talking by the water, he offered her gifts, protection, and even love. Amara left, her chest tight. She just met the man of her dreams. How could she say no? So the person who submitted the story was Amara's sister. So she's telling it from her POV. Well, Amara started seeing this guy. They started going out to date, and Amara seemed like she was falling head over heels. 2 months into the relationship, Amara really started to want to meet the guy's parents, go to his house. However, he was always hesitant. Every time they would see each other, he would come pick her up, or they would just hang out in Amara's house. Well, 2 months into them dating, people noticed Amara changing. Her skin grew unusually smooth and cold. Her pupils became narrow like slits. At night, the weirdest thing, her family heard hissing coming from her room. And when they entered, the hissing was gone. Her skin started to shed like that of an actual snake. At this point, Amara's mother is having nightmares that there's a snake in her house. The next thing we know, the two kept dating and they became inseparable. Even though Amara looked like she was getting worser and worser. The beautiful man winds up proposing to Amara. So Amara comes home and lets her family know that she's getting married. Everybody else seemed to be happy for Amara, and they asked Amara to meet her fiance's family. The only thing is, though, Amara herself has never met that man's family. So now there's a lot of pressure on Amara to make this meeting happen. So she goes to her man and starts putting pressure on him. One day, I guess he finally caved and he was like, okay, I will introduce you to my family. He basically told her that she had already accepted his proposal, which means that she's accepting of him, and that maybe it is the right time that she meets the family. And Amara's thinking maybe this guy is just really formal. So I guess when he figured that Amara was finally ready to meet the fam, he took Amara to the water, and Amara's probably wondering what is she doing here back at the same spot that they met. Well, this man took Amara to the water, inside of the water. Since Amara's sister was the one who submitted the story, at that moment she had no idea what had happened. Her sister was gone for 3 weeks. And everybody back on Earth is worried sick about this girl. Her sister thought that her boyfriend did something to her, might have unalived her. And considering people went around looking for the boyfriend too, well, the fiance, and no one could find either of them. People are thinking they eloped, or thinking that he unalived her. It's so many different theories going on. But when Amara comes back to find out what they found out, shocking, to say the least. Well, Amara comes back to Earth 3 weeks later soaked. Her sister saw her walking in the yard, looking dazed and confused. She was soaking wet and she looked like a zombie. And the thing about her that sent chills down her sister's back was the fact that her sister barely recognized her at first. That's how different she looked after those 3 weeks. Her hair's texture was different. Her hair was straight and kind of stringy looking. Her eyes had the same glimmer that her fiance had. Her skin, at least 5 shades lighter. One look at her, you can just tell that she wasn't a product of God. The crazy thing about it too, when she came back, everyone had all these questions. Where did you go? What happened to you? Why do you look like this? Amara was mute. She could not speak. They would ask her about her fiance. For 3 months, Amara didn't mutter a word. During those 3 months, she would constantly go missing and come back in the same state. People started keeping watch to make sure that she stays in her bedroom at night. Invited the neighborhood's priests and pastors to come and pray over this girl because nobody knew what was going on. And the entire neighborhood started coming together to pray for Amara. And after 9 months, Amara's skin started darkening up. She went completely bald, and slowly but surely, she started looking normal again. After 9 months, she started to speak. And when she spoke again, she talked about what she saw below and how it horrified her and shook her to her core. After the 9 months, Amara decided to give up her life to Jesus Christ because what she had saw was enough to convince her that God was real. So Amara says that she was confused as to why he was walking into the water with her. However, before she can even think, it seems like they're getting pretty deep in. And before she knows it, the water starts to close in on her. She says as soon as the water closed over her, the river just went silent. She didn't hear no splashes, no bubbles, but she was hearing this hum that was just shaking her to her bones. She said they just kept going deeper and deeper, and the deeper they went, the colder it became. Yet Amara said her skin was burning like fire. Every time she grasped for air, instead of drowning, she actually felt like water was being poured into her lungs, and it was making her chest tight. So they kept swimming, and they finally get to this place. It looks like some sort of palace, and it didn't look like it was built. It looked like it was grown. It said that the walls were made of like twisted serpents, and it seemed like they were twisting endlessly to make this palace. Her says this wasn't even the strange part. This one is really hard for her to explain, but she says every shadow on the cavern walls looked like a human silhouette until she realized they were humans. And some of them looked like they were half swallowed into stones. They didn't move. Their eyes were still darting, still very much awake. The next thing too is nobody's face was ever the same. One moment they looked like beautiful men and women with black hair. Next they looked monstrous. It seemed like they were changing, morphing right in front of her. She said she first met the patriarch, which is the father serpent. His body is man-shaped from chest up. His lower half is massive, and his bottom half is like this twisted, curled up serpent's tail. The tongues were unusually long and slit, and Amara is looking into the serpent's eye. As Amara is looking into the serpent's eye, she feels this sense of familiarity. She looks back at her fiance, and she realizes they have the same eyes. That creature is his father. Then came the mother serpent. She remembers her upper body was draped in something like a gown, and her hair was alive. Think Medusa. It was a swarm of thin, pale water snakes slithering and weaving into braids. They were all moving in unison. She says her teeth also were not human. They looked like long needles. And then there were some other little spirits that looked like siblings. While everyone gathered, this is when she witnessed a ritual. So they welcomed her by offering her a feast of drowned spirits. She says that they had these figures sitting at a long table, dressed like brides and grooms, and their lips looked like they were sewn shut. And suddenly the mother serpent slithers towards Amara, hands her a crown, and said to her, "You are to wear this once you give us your firstborn." And in that moment, Amara is realizing that she might be in trouble. Now, Amara says she was playing it cool. It's not like she was able to verbally speak underwater, so she was just playing it cool, hoping that didn't end her. The whole time in her head, Amara was repeating Psalm 23 verse 4 over and over in her head. Yeah, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. She kept saying that and calling on to God. She says she doesn't know what happened. When she came back to herself, she was home and people were praying over her, and she was disoriented. And as desperate as Amara was to speak, she wasn't able to say a word.